Welcome back to the Bad Influence Racing channel. My name is Greg Schmidt. Today we are going to be working with our intake manifold. We are going to be adding fuel to the intake manifold. That may seem a little bit weird when I say that, but what we are doing, since we have a blow-through carb setup on here, we need to be able to give more fuel there. We've been seeing a lot of guys around that 26 to 28 pounds of boost. The carburetor can't keep up with the fuel. So we're going to add two auxiliary fuel systems on here. Basically what that is it's going to be similar to a mechanical injection. It's just going to be run off of an electronic pump. So I'm going to be putting that in today, but we're also going to do it as a little bit of a custom fuel rail and everything like that. So let me show you what we are going to be doing. What we have is a nitrous nozzle. That is a wet nozzle for both fuel and nitrous on here. So there's two on there. It is an 1/8 NPT. These are actually the nozzles from our original sheet metal intake manifold for our nitrous setup. So what that's going to do is right here in the intake, threads right in like that. So we will get it so it's facing correctly, everything there. Since this manifold was originally a blower manifold with a 1471 on it, that was for the mechanical injection. We plugged those off, everything's been fine. Now we're going to actually use them to give us extra fuel. What we're going to do is put in the 8 nozzles, then machine rails that will sit on the top and on the bottom there. That's what we're going to be doing today. Let's get to it. All right, so we have the intake manifold from our old nitrous engine. We're going to be taking out everything that we have here. So let's get to taking all of that out. Alright, so we stripped this down, only took us a few minutes, so we now have our 8 nozzles with dual on there, so we're going to be able to use the nitrous side as a fuel and the fuel side, obviously, as a fuel to be able to do that. So it's a pretty nice little setup to be able to use that. We're going to make sure up on the dyno that it works, so let's go ahead and get the other intake up on here, get these put in. Let's get all the plugs pulled out of here so we can get these in. These are an 8 NPT. So pretty easy for us to get out of there. Okay, so I took all of these. They're all wiped down, cleaned up, made sure everything's good. We're going to go ahead and put them in here. Once we get them in each hole and we have them tapped so they're going to fit correctly, we'll actually take the engraver and we'll engrave on there which hole they go in. So if they ever have to come back out, we know that if it has a 1 on there, this one goes into 1, you know. So if somebody takes them out and goes, oh, okay, there we go, we can easily make sure, since they've been tapped for that injector, to make sure it goes back into the right spot. So So now we got all of them on there. We're going to take and put some jets in all of these, like so. We'll put a jet in, and then we'll have our new fittings. We're going to go like that. And they'll get tightened down right there. So now we'll have our restriction so we can adjust our fueling on there and everything here. We're going to get all of them on so we can measure the spacing in between. And then get our rails drilled, cut, tapped, and on like that. And then we will have a nice custom auxiliary fuel system with rails. So we're going to be starting to measure everything for our fuel rails, where we need to machine everything. A standard Hemi, which this is a standard bore space Hemi, is 4.8 bore space on there. So since these are all the intake runners, we should be close to, from here to here, 4.8 inches, because everything is fairly centered on here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to measure. You know, we can try to get as close as possible with our eye, but if I just go right here and just take it right to, boom, 4.8. Center to center, boom. So we can then go kind of jump along here, just double check it. 4.8, 4.8, and roughly 4.8. So if we set, let's flip this around here. So if we set all of those to 4.8 inches on there when we drill and we tap them and everything on there, it'll also make sure that all of our nozzles are going to be squared to each other as well. So we're going to go ahead and get all that over on the mill. We'll mark them out at 4.8 and get them drilled and tapped. As you saw, well, we just finished up machining 2 of the rails. So you got to see how we did a drill and tap on there for our 1/8 inch NPT on our rails. Now, I didn't talk before, but these rails are a thick wall rails. This is not just a standard tube you'd get at your local hardware store. This is 5/8 outside diameter, and it is a 375 or 3/8 inside diameter, and it has a 1/8 wall on there, a 125 wall. So that's what we're using to make these, so that way it can handle, you know, pressure and drilling and tapping and everything on there. So but like you saw, we drilled and tapped our rails. We still are going to do our bottom side here. You can see we still have the jets in there, and it looks just like the other side. Now the other side, boom, there we go. Have the rail, everything right here ready to go. We'll get the bottom one there, but that's how it's going to work. We'll have our solenoids mounted up front here, where we'll be able to turn on one kit and it'll turn on the top rails, and we can turn on another kit and turn on the bottom rails, and we can use them interchangeably. The very nice thing about this is it's going to give us some cylinder to cylinder tuning, so we can change the jets in each one to get the fueling correct on there. So we'll be able to control all of that and do everything there. So now I'm going to go do the last 2. You guys don't need to see all of that, but through the power of editing, oh, look at that! Oh, it's all done. So there we are. I have the rails on both sides here. You get to see it. We have a couple of pictures. We'll pop it up here. But there we go, both sides. Let's try to get it at an angle where you can see both at the same time on the camera there. But that will be our solution for extra fuel. This idea was not solely mine. The idea for this with the hard lines or the rails on there, it was Mike Kritzky of KGB, Kritzky Garage Built. He's running a similar setup like this with a F3 Pro Charger on a big block Chevrolet and a dragster. So he's been doing this, and he figured this setup out, a similar one to this. over probably 3 or 4 years of burning stuff up and then adding more fuel and getting it to do that. So he's been like 380s in the 8th on a F3 in a dragster. So really fast with a blow-through carb and auxiliary fuel system. So really cool. He's been helping us out. We appreciate it. Thank you very much, Mike, and your father, Don, for all of the help. Other than that, that is our fuel system, or our fuel system upgrades. Once we get this in the car, what we're going to do is then plumb this on there so we can see where all the fuel lines need to be before we put it in there, or after it's in there. If I try to plumb it now and I have, you know, everything sitting here, I may have to move something for something else, and I just want to make sure that it works in the car correctly. Make sure you like and subscribe. I said a while back, once we hit 250 subscribers, we're going to do another giveaway. When we hit 100, we gave away a prize pack of shirt and hat and things like that on there. We'll do another giveaway. Comment down below what you think we should give away at 250 realistically on there. Once we hit 250, we'll do another at 500. We'll do another one at 1,000. So there we are. Like, subscribe. Everybody, be safe out there.